Good afternoon. The Committee on Parole is called back to order. Our next case is Mr. Johnny Thompson. Mr. Thompson, if you would introduce yourself and give us your DOC number.
My name is Johnny Thompson Jr., DOC number 302140.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Let me explain our process. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. And at the appropriate time, we will allow those persons who indicate that they wish to speak to have their input. You have two people here today on your behalf. Ms. Betty Grayson, who is your sister, and Gloria Johnson, who is your fiance, be here speaking on your behalf. At the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process?
You understand what he's saying about the process?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Johnny Thompson Jr., DOC number 302140, date of birth November the 23rd of 1963. He is a 9th class felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of September the 27th, 2023, adjusted good time date of October the 2nd of 2049, and a full term date of September the 27th of 2050. He is currently serving a 30-year sentence on the charge of felony theft after having been adjudicated a habitual offender. His sentencing date was April the 2nd of 2015. Is that accurate, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson, your case has been assigned to me, so I'll begin our interview process. How old are you, Mr. Thompson?
59.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
June the 20th will be 9 years this year.
For about 8.5 years now, a little over 8.5 years.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson, tell me a little bit about your educational background. How far did you go in school?
To the 10th grade.
Did you ever get your GED?
No, sir.
Did you ever try to work on your GED?
Well, my father passed. When my father passed, I had to quit school just to try to help my mom pay bills, get me a job, help my mom pay bills.
What about since you've been locked up? I think he's talking about
How
since
back
then.
then since you've been locked up?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because my education, my reading skills is poor and my spelling skills is poor. And at my age, I feel like.
Did you ever try to take any literacy classes to help your reading and to help a little bit with that?
No, sir.
Is there any reason why you decided not to do that?
Because I wanted to try to do some classes that'll rehabilitate me, help me rehabilitate my drug addiction.
Okay, well, let's talk about when you were on the outside. You ever have a job?
Yes, sir.
What kind of work did you do?
Well, I did. I working at DG Food. That was my income job. Then I had my lawn service. I was doing lawn service on the side.
Let's talk a little bit about your drug addiction. When did you start using drugs?
I think it was like in 96, around 96. My oldest sister, she was a bigger part of my life. And when she died, when she got killed, I took it hard. I took it hard, and I feel like drugs was my way out for escape the pain and the feeling.
Okay, and so how old were you in 96?
96, I was born 63, 73, 83, 92, 30, 93.
You didn't start using drugs till you were 30-some years old?
Like 25, 26, up there.
You never used them as a teenager? You didn't start smoking marijuana, drinking, or anything like that before?
I was drinking. Yes, sir, drinking as a teenager.
What did you drink?
What was I drinking? beer
Yeah.
and beer and alcohol with my oldest brother.
The first arrest was in 91 for attempted possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and disturbing the peace. Is that first time you got arrested for any kind of drug charges?
If I'm not mistaken. Yes, sir.
So how'd you get started on drugs? You said drugs is the reason why you've had all these problems all your life. Tell me how you got started on drugs and what kept you going on drugs.
I mean, it's been so long, I really don't know, but I know when my older sister got killed, I really took it hard then. That was like in 93. I really took it harder then. Trying to kill somebody.
What all kind of drugs have you used?
Cocaine was my drug of choice.
And how often were you using cocaine?
Sir,
How often did
How
you?
often do you use cocaine? Do you use cocaine every day?
just about, yes, sir.
And did you ever take any sort of treatment on the outside?
No, sir. That's the reason why I appreciate for coming to David Wade in the classes that I attend. It really helped me because I never had any kind of rehabilitation.
Now, you're classified as a ninth felony offender, which means you've been convicted. I show you've been convicted of at least 10 felony convictions. So have you been to prison before?
Yes, sir.
What was the longest time you ever been in prison before?
Like 2.5 years.
How many? 2.5?
2.5 years, yes, sir.
You ever take?
During that time, I never had any kind of treatment, until I come here to David Wade.
Why didn't you get treatment before? Do you know?
Because I wasn't in a facility where they had treatment.
So what have you taken this time? What programs have you taken this time that have helped you?
Victim awareness, anger management, and living in balance. And AA and NA and re-entry. I finished all those programs.
Now you've been in prison now for about 8 years. It looked like you just started taking those programs. When did you first start taking these programs?
March
I'm sorry?
of 2021. Because see, during the COVID pandemic and the pandemic and all, we wasn't able to take any kind of class.
You've been in for almost 9 years. That was long before COVID. You were in before COVID. You were at least 5 years in before COVID.
I've been one for working on crew 1. And then
So tell me what's your plan to stay sober this time?
what's my plan to stay sober this time? Make better choices.
Well, tell me what that means, what that looks like. What better choice?
Take what I learned here, and make better choices.
Tell me what it is you learned. What are your triggers that trigger you to use drugs?
I'm my trigger.
Well, I'm not sure what that means.
Explain that to me.
Now, we can't get rid of you, so how are you going to get rid of your triggers?
I mean, just stop doing drugs. I got to.
Well, I hear what you're saying. And I hear you telling me that you've been a long time drug addict. And you have taken some very good courses while you've been there. But you really haven't taken any substance abuse treatment. You have taken some educational courses that kind of tell you a little bit about drugs and tell you what you might ought to do. But it doesn't sound like you've bought into what it is you have to do to be able to stay sober. And that's what I'm asking.
I'm gonna continue going to my AA meeting.
Do you go to AA meetings now?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been going to AA meetings?
Since they opened it back up. Cause like I say, during the pandemic, it kind of shut everything down. But I've been going every time we have one out of 10.
How often is that?
It's like, I think it's once a month, twice a month. Cause by the pandemic, they don't let all the dorms gather like they used to. So we go by dorm.
Thompson, I realize that the pandemic messed up a lot of things, and I do appreciate that. But my decision has to be based on what you've been able to accomplish, what you've been able to learn, and whether or not I'm comfortable in letting you out and believing that you're not going to go back to using drugs. I understand that the pandemic pushed everybody back. That's just that, unfortunately, that's life. But I'm concerned about your ability to stay sober. You've taken some educational classes that might teach you some things, but you've not been in a long-term drug facility that'll teach you the nature of your disease and how to make sure you stay sober. Don't you think you need a long-term drug treatment program?
Yes, sir.
What is your trustee status?
Medium.
Medium.
Medium? Now, you have a very high risk, and I'm sure it's because of your record, because of your drug use. There's nothing you can do about that. Tell me a little bit about your disciplinary record. You've got 2 write-ups, is that right?
Yes, sir. My last
One was for fighting and one was for contraband. What was the contraband?
smoking cigarettes when they quit the tobacco, and I still had a few cigarettes left, and I was smoking and got caught smoking cigarettes.
How many times have you been on supervision, like on probation or parole?
Can't. I mean, like on every conviction that I had.
How many times were you revoked?
I've been so long. I don't.
Just guess.
know
Just
Lord?
guess. Give him a guess. How many times you gotten in trouble by your parole officer? For not-
about my parole out.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what revoked me. How many times they take your parole back?
about 3 times. 3 times.
Now you
I
have
know of.
3 children, I understand. Is that right? How old are your children?
My oldest daughter, 39, 38, and 36.
You have any relationship with them?
Yes, sir. Well, they keep in touch with my fiance cause cause she keep in touch with them more. And I call them at times on the phone call. They be working.
Gordon, what can you tell us about Mr. Thompson?
Well, Mr. Marabella, he's been here almost 8 years, be 8 years in May, I believe, and he's, Johnny Thompson's a decent individual. He does well here at this institution. He's no disciplinary problem. He's had those two write-ups. I think the last one was in 2015, and it was for a cigarette. He works hard. He's got a good work evaluation. He's not a bad fella. I know he's got a bad record, ninth offender, and I certainly think that he would benefit from any type of long-term substance abuse program that you might want to recommend for him. I will point out, we do a pretty aggressive drug testing on our inmate population here at Wade, and he's been sober for at least 8 years. He hadn't had any. I've heard nothing or no indication of him being involved in any kind of contraband issues here, dealing with drugs, other than that, that cigarette write-up he had, but nothing dealing with drugs of any type, marijuana, cocaine, or anything. He does well, and I think, he got 36 years for habitual theft, and he's been locked up 8 years, and he goes home in 2049, and I think, I would like to maybe send him to Bossier and let him get, several months in that long-term program at Bossier. And I think that would probably prepare him a little better. He's got a good heart. He's a good individual. I think he really wants to do right. And his trigger comment he made earlier, being himself, he's told me that his problem is his poor decision making. And I think that substance abuse program will help him make better decisions, will help him stay out of situations that he shouldn't be in. But he is exactly right. He's his own worst enemy, and he does make poor decisions when he's out in the free world and has the opportunity to access things. But he, like I say, he's done very well here for 8 years, and I think I think he'll do well if he makes his mind up and is given the right tools to leave and go back to Bastrop with. I think he'll do fine. Mr. Marabella, he's getting on up in age, and he's got a long time looking at him. So, but he's not a bad individual. I mean, deep down, he's a good guy, and he's not a problem offender. So.
Well, thank you.
That's all I have.
Means a lot to me. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Any other questions? All right, let's hear from Ms. Betty Grayson, your sister.
Yes. Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Tell us what you'd like us to know
Okay,
about.
yes. I'm Johnny's sister. And the question that you were asking him, and I also understand the answer, because myself also was an addict, and I got over 20-some years sober. When I came here to Monroe, even try to, just trying to help him and this and that. But the best thing is for him, it's a long-term facility. Because I had to find out what, you have to be able to find out what to keep going back and keep doing those things. So by the program, they give him a starter where he can be able to take those, he go to the next step of his program. And he's the only one that I have. And I don't lost, like you said, all my others and my mom. And he's the only one that I have. And his grandkids, my grandkids, and his niece, and he talked to all of them, and they want to talk to him and be. So, I will be here with him to make those steps that he needs to make to keep his life, because he's not a bad person. He made bad decisions with using drugs, So the thing is, for 30-some years, that was just for the whole family to bear, us to bear. And then we went through the process of my mother sick. And, it was just hard. I want my brother to come home because he's good, and we want him. He's 59 years old, 20. He won't even have a life, and I pray that he do a second chance, that y'all give him because like I say, and we all make bad decisions in life, and I go around that he have learned to keep doing the same thing over and over, and you expect they're not gonna get them. So it's just time for you, Johnny. It's on and change your life and get back.
I think we lost her, but we understand exactly what the issue is trying to say to us. Now
Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We lost you for a minute, but we clearly understood your message. So
Yeah.
thank you. Now we're going to listen
All
to
right.
Gloria Johnson. Johnson, can you hear us? Hear us, Ms. Johnson?
I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you'd like us to know about your fiance?
Everything so fine, so ready for me to come on. I love her. And my grandkids love her and me and family them too. And I was so I couldn't get to because be praying for him. I do have to when he come home because it's so hard for me to get around him. And I want to marry him so he get home.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate it.
And thank you. Bye.
Mr. Thompson, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, sir. I understand my record bad, and I can't go back and redo what I did, but I just like to go forward and what I have accomplished here at David Wade and make better choices and take back control of my life. And I truly apologize for all the wrong that I did. I apologize to my victim. Just try to make better choices in life. And if you guys give me the chance and the opportunity today, I promise you I'll make better choices, and I promise you I won't let you down.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, as I was reviewing your record and looking at my notes, you're a high-risk reoffend. My notes show that you're a one-man crime wave, all of the crimes that you've committed. We've got 30 arrests. We've got law enforcement all opposed to your release. You're serving a 36-year sentence. You've been in for 8 years. And I look back at your crimes, in every one of your crimes, in my estimation, were all drug related. You committed some crimes of violence, or at least you were charged with some crimes of violence, but I'm convinced that that was clearly related to your drug use. And since you've been at Wade for the last 8 years or so, you've done well. You've worked hard. You've only taken some classes in the last few years, but I've listened to the warden talk about what you've done and how you are, and it sounds like you've turned a corner. Sounds like maybe you have understood some things. You were very honest in your interview today, and I appreciate that. I'm willing to take a chance on it. My vote is going to be to conditionally grant your parole conditioned upon your enrolling in and completing the Steve Hall program. And upon completion of that program, if you can complete that program within a 9-month period of time, then you are to follow all recommendations of Steve Hall, which will include at least 3 AA meetings per week and random drug screens thereafter. I'm just one vote, so that's my vote. So good luck to you.
Mr. Thompson, we've all said your record doesn't look real good, but I was impressed by the things Warden did. One had to say about you and what your sister and your fiance. I believe you're a good guy too. He's got a drug addiction. My vote today would also be to grant after we complete that long-term substance abuse program with the same special conditions that Mr. Marabella will know. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Rocher.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson. After this hearing is over, before you leave your substance use program, we need to shake Warden Goodwin's hand at least 5 or 6, 7 times. I had to change my vote sheet in the middle of the stream because I have great respect for Warden Goodwin and greater respect for the remark he made on each offender. This vote is purely because of the remarks that Warden Goodwin made. He also had no write-ups in 5 years, and that's good. And I wrote other thing down. The crimes that you committed this time are all nonviolent drug offenses based upon Warden Goodwin's remark. Disciplinary conduct in the last 5 years, a nonviolent offense. I'm going to agree with my colleague in grant conditionally upon completion of a long-term substance abuse program. Mr. Thompson, listen to me. You're 59 years old. You are a ninth felony offender. Please keep that in mind when you release, because if you get in trouble again, you will spend the rest of your life incarcerated. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good luck. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Thompson, you have 3 votes to conditionally grant your parole, conditioned upon the completion of the long-term substance abuse treatment program, and then AA meetings after that. We'll do everything we can do to make sure you get into that program. Pay attention. It will give you the ability to stay sober if you choose to do that. It'll be hard work. So good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Quite well. I think that's it. Warden Goodwin, thank you so much for your help. We do appreciate it.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm-
I think this is our last case, Mr. Maribel.
Think we're finished.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day and see you soon. Mr. Rose.
All
Hey, Mr. Rose, thank y'all. Say,
I feel good about it. I like it. It's nice to end on a good note. Today was a long day of hearings. He was tearing up. It was nice to see Mr. O'Shea had made up his mind. He said he changed his mind like midstream. I have a copy of what I can go to share this tab of what ended him with the habitual sentence. But the crazy thing is that he was given a plea deal for 5 years and he turned it down to go to trial. And they told him, they said, we'll do a deal with you. So, just take the plea deal, serve 5 years, or we're going to charge you as an habitual offender. And I mean, he went to court, he went to trial, which was just like, probably, I guess you might say, the best thing for him in the long run, but a dumb move. And then, of course, the judge threw the book at him, as they do. But the straw that broke the camel's back in the court system was stealing money from like the dollar store. They say it was about $715. Basically, he snuck into the store when one of the clerks went to the back. The safe was right there. He got a major payday because it was $715 she claimed was missing. He ended up saying it was much less, I think $250, which would make it under the minimum of the felony. And they and he left. And then they, basically in a nutshell, it took her, because he closed the safe door, it still took her, because of the amount of time, it took like 5 minutes for the door to open. And then she realized the money was gone. So they went to the surveillance camera, and they saw it looked like, well, they saw a man in there with a baseball cap, black pants, and a t-shirt that said "Fast Tax," which is, I think, unintentionally funny. Written on his t-shirt, "Fast Tax." He walked into the store, he looked around, and then he took something from the safe. So I don't know, for him it might have been his lucky day. Like, wow, not every day you can just walk into a store, a dollar store, and get that much money from the safe. Now, they had it on camera, but you could say, well, how would they ever? Well, Sergeant Marvin recognized him, and he recognized him because of how many times he's been arrested. Roche said that he was arrested, or Mr. Marbell said he was arrested, what do you say, like 40 times, but in this record it says 46 times with all those felonies. And so when he went to trial, they had the video footage, they had the testimony, and it was pretty easy for them to convict him. And then they threw the book at him, which, again, it's when it works out in this way, you might argue that it worked out. 20-year maximum sentence. Okay, so this is the appeal, right? The alleged trial court that the sentence was still excessive at the time the defendant committed the offense. Theft was 5 years hard labor. As fourth felony habitual offender, the defendant faced a minimum sentence of 20 years, maximum of life. The defendant argues, however, that his 36-year sentence is excessive because as it amounts to a life sentence for him being 51 years old. He's now 59. After serving, like 8 years? Now, from afar, you look at this, you're like, 36-year sentence for stealing a few $100, $700. They're saying, well, you didn't take the 5-year deal, and you got the habitual offender. I still think it's excessive because it's 36 years. Like, he didn't hurt anyone, like they said. These were, stealing cash from a safe with no one seeing it even happen except from the cameras, ends up getting you 36 years, which at his age was a life sentence. But 5 children, 7 grandchildren. 10 months after he committed the offense, the Louisiana legislature amended that it would be considered a misdemeanor offense. That's interesting. Obviously, his appeal didn't work. But like you might say, I mean, and think about this at his parole hearing. There was no given that he was going to get parole. So imagine being him. You're 59 years old. You served 8 years. You have really the rest of your life in prison. And it's not going that great for you. Mr. O'Shea is not that happy. And the warden goes out on a limb and speaks very highly of him. And that gets him his freedom, as Mr. O'Shea said. And I do think I'm bought in hook, line, and sinker. I'm rooting for him. He's this is the chance that you want to give someone. Like they said, he's not. He's not a violent offender. And it was nice to see, also to see someone just to be so relieved, and like that feeling of gratitude of being given the chance to go to Steve Hoyle. And the idea is that it will create good habits, to get the AANA down, and to create that part of the habits and a system of having that support system and understanding the whole sponsor thing. And for certain people, it works really, really well. I do think it's nuts that someone in this country will get a 36-year sentence. I get that he has a track record as long as incredibly long, but still to lock someone away. It ended up working out in this case, but it easily could not have. It easily could not have. When you're up to the discretion of the board, if for example, if the warden, maybe the warden wouldn't have built a relationship with him, or would have been a different warden, just wouldn't have spoken up, and he would have been denied. But it ended up working out for now. How do you feel about it? You think that he's gonna stay on the straight and narrow path, and he's tired, he's ready to not see the inside of a prison again? Well, I certainly hope so. With that, I'll let you go.